Bom dia, sejam bem-vindos à chamada das 9:30.
Buenos días, bienvenidos a la llamada de 9:30.
Good morning, as folks were joining. We were just getting everything all set with translation. We're so happy to have Excel Linguistics with us this morning, and we are happy to have the commissioner who is literally on the road, not driving, headed to the 508. So we're so happy to have you here. I'm going to turn it over to Julian, who's going to walk us through language interpretation access.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this new 9:30 call. It is a pleasure for us to be here providing the interpretation services. And this morning we have interpretation in Spanish and Portuguese. So we're going to make this announcement to let you know how to select your language. In just a moment, you will see this globe icon next to the word interpretation. You will find this at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you click on that globe, you can select your language. If you have joined from a cell phone or tablet, look for the three dots button on your screen next to the word more. From there, you will see interpretation as an option in the list to choose your language. An important reminder, everyone has to select a language and stay in that channel. And now I will turn it over to Shay to repeat that in Spanish.
Bueno, si están en un computador, va a aparecer un icono de un globo en la parte inferior de tu pantalla y ahí puedes seleccionar tu canal de español. Si estás en una tableta o en un celular, en vez que el globo, puedes seleccionar los 3 puntos junto a la palabra more y ahí puedes conectar al canal del español. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Shay. Dora, can you please repeat that in Portuguese?
Sure. Bom dia a todos, é um prazer estar aqui. Nós vamos disponibilizar os serviços de interpretação esta manhã em espanhol e português. Por favor, selecione o seu idioma quando aparecer um globo na parte inferior da tela. Se você está acessando de um tablet ou de um telefone celular, clique nos 3 pontinhos junto à palavra more, palavra mais, e aí você pode selecionar o seu idioma. Lembramos que todos devem selecionar o idioma da sua preferência. Muito obrigada.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, all set.
And Julian, I know I just asked to unmute you as I was trying to let somebody from the waiting room.
No problem.
So, Commissioner, we're so happy to have you with us. I have to choose my language. And well, I'll turn things right over to you, and we're eager to hear the update. We know that yesterday was the board meeting. We know that many faithful 9:30 callers were on a panel to talk about the credential, but we're eager to hear your update.
Great. Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you, 9:30 callers. We are very happy to be commuting with you to the WOO. This morning, we are going to the Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Professional Development Institute today in Worcester. So I am looking forward to spending the day with our CFC coordinators and our family access staff from EEC. But yesterday indeed was the EEC board meeting. So I wanted to provide a few updates of things happening in general at EEC and for all of us, as well as give some highlights from our board meeting. And I know last night was also a very busy night. Did you have the 9:30 call in Spanish?
Yes, we did. The 9:30 call in Espanol, hosted by Harold, Paula, and Neri Garcia from Team SFC.
Amazing. And there were 2 other things happening last night too. I know we had an open session for the Early Education and Care Scholarship Program. We had more than 300 people participating on that. So thank you for those who participated. A little update coming on that too. And I also think we had a drop-in session for behavioral health support services. So incredible amount of gratitude to Eugenia Soilis, who organizes many of those things for us and supports our teams to make sure that we are connecting to the community and doing it in times and locations that make it as accessible as possible. So thank you, Eugenia, who will also be providing chat support around many things. So I want to start with just a couple quick updates. First, I want to talk about the current fiscal year budget. Many of you may have heard or participated earlier this week in a call hosted by the agency. As you are aware, we are serving more kids with child care financial assistance than we ever have before. We're up to nearly 65,000 families, and the need is still enormous. But the issue for EEC this year is that we've been tracking a deficiency in order to be able to serve all the families that are currently enrolled in our programs. The governor filed a supplemental budget several months ago, which means extra money to be able to pay for this current year's expenditures for child care financial assistance. We are very hopeful that the House and the Senate will take up that supplemental budget very soon. And we need them to do that in order to pay all of our bills for this fiscal year. So we've been working closely with our colleagues in the legislature. And if action is not taken by May 31st on that supplemental budget, which would provide EEC with the funding we need to pay our bills through the end of this fiscal year, so through June, we anticipate there will be a delay in payments for child care financial assistance. So again, nothing has happened yet. We are very hopeful that the legislature will take up that supplemental budget and we will be able to make all of our payments through this fiscal year. But if they don't, we wanted to make sure that people were planning and aware. We will be able to pay most of everything through the end of May. But the next payment for child care financial assistance would be on June 10th. And if we don't have additional funds, we won't be able to make our June payments. So they would be delayed until either that supplemental budget passes or the new fiscal year starts when additional funds will be available. I want to recognize that in order to maximize payments for individual kids and families to programs, we have held a number of payments in order to try and maximize how much funding we have. So many of our family child care providers are waiting for retroactive payments associated with the rate increase for this year. That is being held until additional funds are available. We will make those payments when the funds become available. There's also a number of cost reimbursement contracts that are also being held, again, to maximize our payments to providers for individual services to children and their families. As soon as the funding is available, whether it's through the supplemental budget, we hope very soon, or through the new start of the fiscal year budget, we'll be making those payments. A communication, we're hoping that we'll get an update this week, but if not on that supplemental budget, we will send out an email to all providers, as well as the child care resource and referral agencies and all of our stakeholders early next week, informing them of the potential delay in payments for June. I know this is not great news. It's not where we want it to be, but as I said, we are hopeful in our conversations with the legislature that they will take action on that supplemental budget, which we need in order to be able to make all of our payments for the end of this fiscal year.
And Amy, I just want to highlight for folks, because we've been following the FY26 budget process very closely on the 9:30 call. So this is separate from that process that's happening. So, right. So they're connected, but we've been doing a lot of advocacy first to the governor, then to the House, now to the Senate. And then, so we still need to do advocacy, but it's not the kind of the FY26 process. It's part of the FY25 budget for right now.
So I will talk a little bit about the FY26 budget. So
Right.
The information I just provided you is about the budget year that we are in right now that ends on June 30th. So we are looking forward to the FY26, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and I know you have been.
Great.
But right now we're trying to make sure we have enough funding through the end of the year. And we need that supplemental budget in order to do that, but that's still this fiscal year. Yeah. Speaking of delays, I just want to acknowledge that we recognize, because of a technical issue with the vendor who manages the scholarship program, that the application for the early educator scholarship has been delayed and getting posted. We do expect that to be posted soon, and they will make sure it is available through December. So the full sort of length of time for applications are available. So we have experienced historic levels of interest in that program, thanks to the outreach and information and a number of changes to that program. So we are excited for that application to go up and to see the number of our educators who will be able to continue to access higher education opportunities. The three items that we discussed at yesterday's board meeting, one was next year, so fiscal FY26 budget. We also talked about the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative, and we talked about an update on our educator credential work. So I'm going to hit briefly on each of those things. So for the FY26, again, that's looking into next year. That's the budget year that starts July 1. Amy has done a lot of work on advocating and sort of understanding where we are in the budget process. So you all are aware that the formal budget process starts with the governor releasing her budget in January. And then the House does their budget and they finalize that in April. And now the Senate is working on their budget. As I mentioned the last time I was here with all of you, each of the budgets so far have great things for EEC in it, and I want to recognize the incredible and consistent support for C3, Commonwealth Cares for Children at $475. The other areas that we're excited about are recognition of the caseload, so the number of kids we're serving in child care financial assistance. The governor supported fully funding all the children that we have, and new children we expect to come in through Department of Transitional Assistance and Department of Children and Families. And the Senate actually matched that number. So we would be going into next year, if we were to get the Senate number, at least being able to be assured we would be serving all the children that are currently eligible. Couple of watch areas for us. We're looking at our Career Pathways program and identifying ways to make sure that program can stay whole. We are also concerned about our admin account, as I shared a little bit last time. The House budget reduced our administrative dollars, and the Senate actually reduced it from our quality account, which funds our licensing staff. So we are I think I've said here before, people are policy, and we have an amazing team at EEC and have built capacity to support our field, to do new research, to support family access in new ways. And so really making sure that we're paying attention to the needs for capacity at the agency as well. We are also, there's a big difference in the funding for the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative. The governor, through a surplus budget from the Fair Share Amendment, provided $50 million over 3 years to make sure that we can both sustain all of our current grantees in CPPI, as well as grow that program. The Senate budget also includes $27 million, would allow us to sustain current grantees and do some growth in that. And the House has a smaller number. So these are the areas that we are watching right now. So our admin, our caseload, career pathways, there is level funding for a number of our other most important programs around child care resource and referral agencies and Reach Out and Read and CFCEs. The Senate budget did include an increase for our Head Start programs, which is obviously on everyone's mind right now. So this next year's budget is very much in flux, and we appreciate our opportunity to kind of talk about the areas that we're watching, and happy to answer any questions on that when we get to the end. The second item on yesterday's agenda was to talk about the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative. Eugenia shared the slides. We are in what is considered a competitive, and I'm saying that in quotes because we are committed to all the current grantees. But what that means is that we are proposing a few changes to that program. We've learned a lot over the last 10 years, especially from our amazing community partners. Northampton was in the house yesterday. I was visiting the Somerville CPPI, the amazing 50 people involved in early childhood partnerships across Somerville earlier this week. So this is a signature of the governor's Gateway to Pre-K agenda, and this administration is really committed to moving universally accessible. And to do that, we want to make sure it's as strong as possible. So we did highlight some important changes that we're making to that program to support leadership at the local level, shared leadership and power among our districts, school districts, and our community providers, lifting up the role of family childcare and making sure they have an opportunity to participate, and really being very consistent about what it looks like in
Commissioner, it looks like we are testing the limits of the
access early education services and for our providers and educators to be able to access professional development. So looking forward to sharing those changes through the board meeting. You may have seen we also just kicked off a CPPI around the state to visit many of our programs. We have
I think we may have lost the commissioner. We are testing the power of the Zoom on the go.
Can you hear me? I think I'm back.
Hey, you're back. Somebody just said it was a rain delay.
It was a rain.
Well, and Amy,
Yeah.
Commissioner, I do have to say the 9:30, we asked the 9:30 callers to cheer and send love to the Celtics, and it worked. So we are capable of everything.
It did indeed work. And so, but if they could send it for the next one, that would be good too.
Yes. All right, back to you.
All right. So we ended the meeting with a really amazing update on the educator credential work. And I want to particularly call out members of our community. So Harold and Paula, who joined us, as well as Heidi Kaufman from the YMCA in Framingham and Brianna Flannery from FKO. And it was an update on where we are on the educator credential program, an important opportunity to hear from those like Harold and Paula and Heidi and Brianna, who are all participating in our working group to develop that educator credential. So we heard both from the staff at EEC as well as from our incredible panelists that everyone is excited about this. It's time. I think it's been since the 90s since we've updated our educator certification program, which is really for center-based early ed programs. And so the opportunity to create real meaningful pathways, multiple entry points, higher education path, professional development path, apprenticeship path, so that our educators can come into the field, stay in the field, recognizing the special and unique experience of our out-of-school time and after-school time educators and our family child care educators is part of this commitment. And we heard a lot of professional development pathway that recognizes the various roles and educator types in the field, and also worry that we do it in a sort of thoughtful and organized way that recognizes those who are already in the field and supports them. So nothing is happening yet. This was just an update on where we are. So I encourage you to take a look at it, become involved. If you have questions, please contact Eugenia. But I'm really excited about the direction it's going in and the collaboration we have with our community partners, both our educators as well as higher education and apprenticeship, to really create what our educators deserve, which is a meaningful, respected, clear, organized, and supported career pathway. And I think it's really part of the agency's commitment and sort of professionalizing and lifting the field. And obviously, we're doing this at the same time that we're revising regulations and creating a brand new educator portal. So we hope they all come together at the right time. But the commitment is to be doing it in partnership with all of you. So I will stop there.
Great.
I can see, Amy, if there are any questions in the
Sure,
chat.
I can go to the chat.
see the
So we
chat.
need a clear and easy path to receive the director's certification as a family child care educator. Harold says, thanks to the commissioner and the board for hearing us out. It was an enriching experience and great opportunity for FCCs to be heard. Eugenia added her email address. Commissioner, from Kathy, Commissioner Kershaw, FCC educators feel like you are pushing us out. Can you please give some feedback to this concern many of us have? And then Donna Dennett says, I want to express gratitude for the changes made to the see-through reporting. It was wonderful to be able to print out and complete a draft as well as save as you go option. It made the reporting burden much less burdensome. Also appreciate the changes from FTE to actual employees. Thank you for listening to our concerns and for implementing changes. Lot of appreciation, which we asked for. Eugenia has put a lot of the links in chat.
Amy, can I jump in? Because
Sure.
I would love to have a conversation about the concern that Kathy expressed around family child care educators. Like I think most of you know that I use family child care for both of my children. And I feel like the agency is as committed as it has ever been to family child care, whether it's making sure they're included in the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative, a brand new first of its kind ever capital grant program. I know it's delayed. Those announcements will be coming soon, but we've never had that before. We have a new pre-licensing support for family child care providers that Jeanette Montoya has been working on. We have the first ever dedicated policy and program staff. We're working on revising the child care regulations to represent. I spend a lot of time with family child care providers to better understand their unique needs and experiences to make sure that the agency is as responsive. We recognize, and I'll say the governor recognizes, our Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development recognizes, and our economic development agencies recognize that family child care is like a critical part of the child care infrastructure and the economy of our communities. And if we're not doing a good job expressing how we feel about it and translating that, I think I need to hear a little bit more about what family child care providers are experiencing so that we can respond.
Great. And maybe the best way to do that is Eugenia put her email in chat. So Kathy, maybe follow up with Eugenia. Marissa added the new Child Care Aware of America report yesterday about supply and pricing of child care across the states. It shows that Massachusetts is one of 4 states across the country where FCCs are actually growing, and then added the link in the chat. So I think the one question we've heard about it a lot on the 9:30 call when you have joined is around the regulations change. And remember, so Wendy, remember, it's not 10 to 12 necessarily. It's part of a bigger regulation change. So that may be one of the concerns. Andrea, I see your hand.
It is making sure that we are moving more as quickly as we can to enable the expansion for our family child care educators. Yes.
And then there was a question about about the credentialing timeline. And then Andrea, we can take your question quickly. So the credential timeline, Amy?
So we don't have a specific timeline, but if you look at the board slides, there is a timeline at the end about sort of the sequence of things that will roll out. But the commitment's not to do it to anyone, it's to do it with. So,
Andrea, quickly, what's your question?
Yep. Thank you, Commissioner. At Bunker Hill, we're definitely on board with the foundational certificate. I'm just wondering if there's anything more specific you can share about the pathway, the professional development pathway to credentialing.
I think Sarah Cian and Ellen Grandine and Jocelyn are going to come and be a specific dedicated time here on the 9:30 call. Is that right,
Yes.
Amy?
That's right.
Where
I
you'll
talked
get
to
to
Ellen
hear
yesterday.
more detail about the credential information that we presented yesterday, the timeline, and the relationship to the community colleges who have been amazing partners in this. I think we're finally going to have a consistent across the community colleges certification. So I'm really excited about that.
Kat Berry has a specific question about the 5% administrative fee for April and May, as well as a retroactive rate increasement payments for July and being centered. Should I connect Kat with Tyrese?
I think you can connect with me for now.
Eugenia.
Yeah.
Okay, with Eugenia.
Yeah, happy to chat. Kat.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Donna says,
And I just want to reiterate that, yeah, we as soon as we have the funding, we will be making payments.
Right.
So we are only holding them because we are waiting on action on the supplemental budget. But if you have specific questions, yes, please reach out to Eugenia.
And Brenda says, Commissioner, thank you for directly answering a concern on the call. It says a lot about your leadership that you respond on what could be a hard question in a public forum. Thank you. And as always, we will send the commissioner the chat. So if you haven't had a chance to add your love and appreciation here, please do so. We also know this is a really tough and important time to have leaders in government who are kind of willing to take on the challenge to think about children and families and educators and think about how all these policy pieces fit together. We know that it's not an easy job, Commissioner. We are so grateful that you continue to come on the 9:30 call. We will be back with you in June. And Eugenia, we so appreciate you putting your contact information in. If you have a question, please reach out to Eugenia. You can reach out to me too. I can connect you. But please take advantage of this opportunity and help get accurate information and be an ambassador of good information that we hear on the 9:30 call from the Commissioner. We equally appreciate Jackie Foley, who is driving the Commissioner safely to Worcester. So thank you for that. And we will be back in action next Monday on the 9:30 call. Commissioner, thank you so much. And thank you, Excel Linguistics, for the incredible interpretation.
Thank you so much. I hope you can still hear me.
We can.
Zoom is doing, okay, great. The Zoom is doing something funny, but gratitude for all of you and Amy for your leadership and your team. Thank you.
My camera went off too. All right, that's a wrap. We'll see everybody on Monday morning at 9:30. Have a great weekend. Go Celtics!